morning, my friend, Miss Opal. How are you? Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Vernon. Good morning to your listeners. I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Not bad. I must tell you something that I don't think I have told you before. The first play I did, my name was Hopal. It is Hopal, and I was a teacher. So you know why they call me Hopal, right? But you know what I did know? I used to drop off my H's at Arbor Street and pick them up on Heath Street. So I used to say, my name is Opal. I am an experienced teacher. I just remember that one.
Wait, you were Opal? Are you serious?
Yes, in the play School's Out many years ago, a play written by Trevor Rowan, which I'm sure when you went to high school, you did that as part of literature. School's Out, I'm sure you did. Yes, what's happening in your neck of the woods? Are you in Jamaica or you're in the other part of the other state of Jamaica?
I'm in Kingston 21, which is in Florida. But
Ah, I see. Yes.
nothing,
What's happening
nothing
there?
new. There's
Hmm.
nothing new at all. I mean, our governor Ron DeSantis has made it now that yes, if he's elected president, then he'll make sure to shut down the southern border. That's his promise. But other than that, there's nothing. The laws, his rules or the new laws that was implemented, it actually goes into effect July 1. So
July
there's nothing
1.
new where that is happening.
Oh,
Correct.
Papa. So we don't really know what that crossed my mind this week. So we will not know what the effect will be until after July 1. That's gonna
Right.
be.
So it has a bad effect because a lot of people are fleeing. A lot of undocumented
Yes.
immigrants are fleeing Florida, but it's also given a decline rating for Ron DeSantis because even his own Republicans right now are speaking up and said, "Okay, wait a minute, don't leave. We're not going to do anything to you. It's the new people we're trying to deter from coming in. But if you're already here and working, don't leave." So it's kind of a mixed signal that they're given. But the truth is, they realize how damaging it is to the
Yes.
Florida economy because a lot of these undocumented immigrants, that's how a lot of these businesses were being survived. A lot of the construction industry and everything, they survived by the hard work of these immigrants. And so with them fleeing, it's very bad for business. So
And
now I think they're backtracking.
one thing I
Right.
predict, if they leave, and more than likely they're working for lower wages, which is hard, but many of them they're giving thanks because they're coming from places where many of them didn't even have a work or even were getting that kind of salary. Now, what will have to happen if they leave and you're going to offer Americans a job? They probably don't want to take such jobs because I've heard about that happening in Canada. That nationals sometimes they don't want to take certain jobs at all. And the fact is, they probably will not take those jobs at the salaries that are being offered. So, interesting times are ahead to see the kind of impact that will have on the economy of Florida. Uh, what impact will it have on those who are migrating or heading to Florida? And that's something I'm sure you have thought about it, Opal. If that many persons when they migrate, they normally go to Miami, New York, and the United States is a massive country with 50 odd states, right? But help me know,
Mm-hmm.
when you migrate, you have to go to where your relatives who are filed for you, or you can go to any state.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on who's filing for you. If it's your spouse filing for you, then you better be in the same state as your spouse. But if it's
I like how you
if
said
your
that.
mom, dad,
I love how
right,
you
if
said
it's
that.
somebody else,
Yeah. If it's your spouse, then guess what? It will be amazing. Mark, you could tell him that you're having a virtual relationship. I don't know that they would buy that one. So you're in Miami and your spouse is in New York. So that would be interesting. And we're smiling, but just remind us about the importance of making sure that when I getting married to somebody, it is for real. The business marriage can put you into big trouble. Just remind us about that.
Remind you about what you were just
The
going out
business
a little bit.
marriage that some persons engage in, and the dangers of that. The business marriage. And they only might forget
Right.
the
So
Greek
a
card.
lot of people know by now, and that's no secret, that one of the easiest ways for a person to get a green card is through marriage. But the thing is that they need to know it could also be the most damaging as well. And
Yes.
that is if it is that you're entering into the marriage to circumvent the immigration laws, that is a no and will have dire consequences. Because if it is that it's found out that you are doing it just for immigration purposes, even though you might not get the green card there, and you end up divorcing, you may find your prince or princess charming or charminess later on, and you have everything together, have children together, house, car, land, solid marriage.
Yes.
And that person files through, you will not be able to get that green card through that person, because if it was deemed that your first marriage was based on fraud. So it is
Oh.
important, very important, that you don't just do it, pay somebody and go do a marriage just to for the immigration. I know a lot of people are getting a little bit more slick with it, Vernon. They're
Really?
getting very slick. They're going on the dating app. Yep, they're not paying anybody for it now. They're not doing it. You ever hear about the Tinder swindler? But they're going there and
Tinder
they're love
swindler?
bombing. Oh, I'm so in love with you, Vernon. I always enjoy your voice on the radio, and they captivate you. And the next thing you know, you're so in love. Now, I'm not giving you any money or not asking for any money to get a green card, but you get married, and the person uses you, and then when they get a green card, they're gone. Well, it's better to do it that way, because at least, they're not supposed to, but
Yes.
let's put it this way: it's more difficult to find out that what the underlying purpose
Right.
was
Purpose.
when
Yes.
they do it that way.
Wh-
Exactly. But for you to go there and say, "Oh, I'm going to give you $10,000," and then you have a paper trail, you give me the 10,000, never lived together, never did anything together, it is going to be so easy for USCIS to pick up on this fraud,
Uh,
and they would sometimes send out PI, right? They send out private investigators.
PI.
And
Oh, I
here
was
it is.
wondering, PI. So hold on. Let me get. So what do they visit you at your yard?
Exactly. And they have videos, and here, can you imagine you're in
What? No,
an
hold on. Take
interview
time.
with
Take time. Take
USCIS
time.
and they pop
Take
up.
time with me now. So hold off now. Let me come look at the window too and look into the bedroom. I'm making trouble now, Opal. No, but the point as you're making though is that don't believe that you get over there, you're okay. They will actually come and investigate and check to see what's happening. So we have to careful. Yes.
Right. So they will have their cameras rolling, and they'll see going in and out. For example, you're supposed to be living there with somebody, Vernon, and then they're not seeing the petitioner who's petitioning for you ever entering that apartment, but instead they're seeing somebody else
Yes.
entering that apartment on a daily basis. So they will have videos, and imagine you're sitting down in an interview, and they're showing you all of this.
My God. And with the technology nowadays, you don't have to have a big camera walking around. The camera can be on your button, you know. It can be the postman who come to visit you. Those countries, they do all kind of things today. When they're investigating, you never know what strategies or the technology that will be used, you know. That's something else. Right. As you mentioned about the presidency, before we ask you to give us your contact, I gather what's going to happen? Suspense? Has he thrown his thing in the ring to him suspense from the Republicans? So we have him, we have Mr. Trump, and
Yep.
DeSantis.
It's
So hold
going to be
on.
interesting.
Will Trump
This is gonna be
everybody else?
This is going to be a very interesting one for the Republicans.
Yes.
I mean, the Democrats, they don't really have anything good going. They don't really have anything, exciting on their end. But I see the lineup for the Republicans. It's going to be, let's just say, it's going to be very entertaining.
And if it is, it might get more attention, more media attention, and might get more of their grassroots persons to come out. So you have to pay special attention to that. But for the Democrats, though, they will still be having Mr. Biden. Many felt that his vice president would probably enter the race, but it seems as if it will not be that. We won't be seeing that at all.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know what's going on with the the left side right now. But yeah, we'll just have to see.
And I think we have to remind our listeners about is, and as we mentioned before, that one Jamaican lost his life going through South America. I was watching a video, and let me tell you something, what persons have to go through. But then we realized years gone by when persons were looking better and them jump on ship just like Columbus and everybody else. Persons would probably, they are nomads in the desert for
Wow.
days trying to find somewhere to live. So it is nothing new at all. But it just show you the human spirit, They make them into criminals, yes. It's pretty hard. But if you find yourself in a situation where you are victimized, you're abused, you're from a country where it's war torn, you don't know what will happen to your children. I hear stories of some countries where girls are taken away, they are raped and so on. The human thing to do is you're going to escape from it. But let me tell you something. When I can't remember what I call that path. I see what persons go through. I'm going to advise my fellow Jamaicans and Caribbean people. Lord, may I beg you no, but I tried. It no pretty. When I see some mud place that people have to climb, I hear some of them animals attack them. Some of them are raped, abused, and they walk for days to reach to the border. Then it's video mentioned about that the cartel is responsible as the cartels in Colombia. Say the people around Patal. So you have to find money to pay them. What the hell if you don't have enough money?
I
Wow.
understand. That's true.
It's not pretty at all. So I'm warning my Jamaican people, do not go take on that one. It's not pretty because next week we hear that you're missing and never to
Yeah.
be seen again. And of course,
And that's the thing, because a lot of people talk about the asylum, but there's no guarantee that even if you make it through the border,
yes,
right, that you're going to be granted asylum, because a lot of people, to be honest, they don't really have a good case for asylum. They can't show that they're a member of a particular class, and they can't, or membership of a particular group, and they cannot show, or they're unable to show that they're being persecuted because of membership in that particular group. And most importantly, that there's government involvement. That if we're talking about Jamaica, that the Jamaica is is involved in this persecution. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be extremely difficult. So why make that threat?
The other one I think probably is working and probably can help us is those who are facing sexual discrimination, abuse, and so on. I gather that still holds water. Is that so?
You mean to get asylum if you're in Jamaica?
Yes,
from Jamaica?
yes.
Yeah, for example, one of the main ones is if you're a homosexual,
right?
And because of your sexual orientation, right? So that's the group that you're in. The group is called a group of homosexuals, and because of membership in that group, you're being persecuted. And the thing that the Jamaica government is really not helping with this, because right here under Jamaica books right now, you could get up to 10 years. There's a 10 years hard label if you are, you can be persecuted, right? So yes, so that's a good way for someone to get asylum from Jamaica, because they could show me the police records. They're being threatened first, right? Because of that, and how they treat a lot of homosexuals in Jamaica. Yes, we can find articles. Look in your articles, you'll find even articles going way back. So that's one.
But I must tell you, sometimes it's not from the other side. It's from right within their ranks that they treat one another poorly. But my understanding is that persons get through that route to get to the United States. But what the hell? Suppose also people start to tell lie. No.
Yeah, but you see, and the U.S. Embassy knows this, because look at that. Remember, the U.S. Embassy is flying the flag, right?
Yes.
That all-included flag right now on their own campus, and they're getting a backlash. Jamaicans asking them to take it down.
Yes.
So they know. So you could tell really and truly how so many people in Jamaica feel about about people in this orientation, about people's sexual orientation. So that's really helping people with their asylum claim, if it is that they are they're gay or lesbian or anything like that. So it's
Just
right there,
remind us
actually.
again, it slipped me, how we can make contact with you.
All right, thank you as always, Vernon. So for Opal Lee, our phone number in Jamaica is 876-854-3599. That is 876-854-3599. In the United States, it is 954-358-2020. That's 954-358-2020. Or you can go to our website, www.flowjamlegal.com.
And open out and tell you something, You give that number, and person still call me. I say to them, why you calling me? And the number was given on air. But I never write it down. Why I never write it down? I couldn't bother. Then I said to myself, you couldn't bother for write it, but you called me for bother me. Oh, that mercy, people are something else.
Yeah.
Right. We have another probably 3 minutes left. Anything you want, general information you want to share with our listeners relating to migration or just visiting the United States? I know, for example, that they're not required to have any COVID documents showing that they have been vaccinated. Do they require that to show that they have been vaccinated?
Well, yes, for non-immigrants. So
Yes.
if you're visiting the United States, the requirement for your vaccine is no longer a requirement. You're no longer required to show that you have been vaccinated to enter the United States for visiting purposes. However, if it is that you are entering on an immigrant visa, so you're trying to migrate your mom, dad, spouse,
Yes.
child, somebody files you and get that green card, it is still a requirement for you to get that, show that you have been vaccinated against the COVID virus. So yes, you still have to go ahead and get that. And if you're not, Andrews is going to tell you to go ahead and get it before they issue the clearance, the police report, the medical report. And if it is that you do go to the U.S. Embassy for the interview and they have not already received your medical, it's just going to end up in a delay. You're going to delay the actual issuance of your immigrant visa, so might as well you go get that COVID vaccine as soon as possible.
The backlog, no, that has eased significantly, I think, in terms of
Not
processing.
for the immigrant part.
Not for. Okay.
For visiting visas, yes. The visiting visas, I think they've worked through it. Thankfully, they've worked through the backlog, but not so for the immigrant ones. There's still a backlog, talking about over a year's worth of backlog, and the categories are just not really moving, Vernon. I really wish, I hope by next year, or hopefully I wish in the next few months or before the end of this year, everything would be back to normal, where I'm able to tell a client after they have been documented or qualified that they could expect to get an interview within 60 days.
Yes,
those were like, I've come to really appreciate those days, but
it's going to come back.
I miss those days.
Hoping nothing comes up again.
Yeah, I hope so. I really want to go back to that part, but for now, still a backlog.
But that was hard. By the way, we have passed through it. I think many of us have forgotten it. Realize that millions of persons died across the world. My God, what a horrible experience. And the fact is, there's no guarantee that another one is not lurking around the corner there. It's just amazing. Anyhow, Paul, any final point, any final message or anything, or to say hi to anybody before you leave us?
Hi, Vernon. I'm just joking. But,
Why not? But I appreciate it. Wait, take this thing for. By the way, some persons just send me messages in the mornings, just to say good morning, how are you? And I appreciate it. Oh, yeah. I do appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, and the only other thing a client gave me some East Indian mangoes yesterday, which I'm very appreciative of that. In Florida, because it's very difficult to get it here. So, yes, since it's a Travel Talk program, one of the good things that I saw, I was just so smiling when I saw my timeline with some people traveling to Jamaica who haven't been there for a while.
Yes.
And the first thing they're saying that they're going to Mango Bush, right? Because they want to get some East Indian and all that stuff. So that was really nice.
Can you imagine, Opal, one time with a sit down, I could have 1 dozen, 2 dozen. We just don't night. That time, but we don't breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You just wipe them off.
Blackie. The Jamaica black mango, Blackie, I could just sit under a Blackie tree and I could eat 2 dozen mangoes easily.
I remember,
small and nice.
I remember going to Canada some years ago, and let me tell you something, Opal. I carried some Blackie. And they had to be carrying me all over Toronto. people were so excited. You know, I don't mean they're excited to see. And they blocking them. I was so upset. Oh, I have his mercy. But I'm sorry I can't go back to
Because
those.
I know I'm buying tickets just before the mango season end. When does the mango season end, by the way? Because I might be there next month. But it's going
Me
to
don't
end by
know when
next
it
month.
end beginning because you know, so me have to stand far from it. Mark, me take a little one slice for that already. Take a little one slice. Oh, Paul.
I'm going to have to take a trip there before the mango season is over.
Okay.
So,
It's
yes, so
always
that's my last word. Save some mangoes from me, all right?
it's always great dealing with you. The only thing probably sweeter than the mango right now is Opal. Yeah, oh, she's a very sweet lady, but it's just great working with her. Have a wonderful day and all the
All
best,
right,
my
friend.
friend. Take care then. Opal
You
Lee.
too. All
Okay
right,
then.
bye.
Right, it's time to rock it and enjoy ourselves before we go for the break. Oh yeah, the man called Dennis Brown. Oh.